Happy Sunday. Just a couple questions tonight, but two's better than none. And I'm just glad to have an excuse to talk to you guys. Hope you had a really terrific week. I know I have. I went running twice, not once, twice. And I'm thrilled by that. Not only because my body's finally starting to function a little bit, all of the medicine is finally starting to kick in. My gut might be healing. I'm afraid to say that I'm turning a corner because the last 2 times I thought I was turning a corner, I really had not. Now it feels like we're headed in a really good direction. And I think a lot of that has to do with the testosterone cream that I talked about last week and the week before. Can't hurt to ask your doctor about it. My PCP does not provide it. I'll go to a different doctor that I see at a functional medicine clinic. And again, phrases I never thought would come out of my mouth, but there is something to it. If you are doing work and your muscles are not responding, it doesn't really make sense to put all that extra stress on your body. Getting your hormones in balance, it's a whole thing. And once I can speak intelligently on it, I will do a lot more of that probably on the podcast, which we do intend to bring back. But for now, it's good to see you. Thank you for all the birthday wishes last week. I really appreciated that. Some of you texted to tell me that, wish me happy birthday, and in the same text say that you're not going to be able to hang around. And can you still text me? Yes, the answer is you always can. But maybe don't tell me that you can't, that you're going to have to quit finish protection. Maybe don't put that in a happy birthday text. Just like in the future, I'm always going to be here for you. There's a time for everything. I get that. But I also urge you to remember that, if it's a money thing, I haven't drawn a paycheck from this yet. So I can afford to comp you if you need it beyond this month. And also the time you need a coach the most is the time you are least likely to have one. We have this idea that we only need a coach when we're headed after a really big goal or somehow have to justify it. But in all honesty, what you're paying for each month is the tether, the reset button, the tether to this community and to me, and the reminder to start anew with a brand new plan every single month. So you're never too far behind, unlike a marathon training plan. If you fall off the plan, get a couple weeks behind, it's really, really each week off, each day off, it can get a little bit harder to come back. I wanted to design something completely different where you could never fall too far behind. And that's really what we've done here. So to that end, if you can stay, you're much more likely to get back into this running habit if you're here with us. I believe that. Not just because ask away, but also because the ability to talk to me one-on-one chat, and I can help you personalize the plan any way that you need. The biggest thing I've been begging everyone to do in this insane heat, I know it can be really hard to get out of bed in the mornings, especially if your hormones have been as unbalanced as mine. It was there for a couple months, it was really hard to get out of bed, period, let alone. And I'm a person, again, who's my whole life, I've been annoying, first person up, morning person, wide awake out of bed at 5:15, go, go, go. And I've not been that person for the past couple of years. I'm starting to become that person again. And it's really, and it's a lot of fun. But, if getting up early in the morning is hard, I hear that. Let's talk about it. Let's talk about sleep. Let's talk about magnesium at night. Let's talk about all the different things, the little things, because everything's easy when you're fit, because when you're fit and everything is sort of working together, your life is a well-oiled machine. I'll look back and I'm still impressed at how well-oiled mine was for as how long it was. And once one wheel starts to fall off the wagon, trying to pull everything back together feels hard, because we like to think of running as a singular hobby and a singular habit. And the truth is, it's a singular hobby that is supported by a whole bunch of other little habits that slowly go to the wayside when you're in a period of not being able to run or not wanting to run as much as you may have in the past. So as we get back into the place of habits, it's really important to take stock of all those little habits, some sort of a bedtime routine, making sure that you're getting to bed, not on time. I'm not here to shame anybody, but just saying okay, well, let's talk about what your nighttime looks like, why it might be difficult to get out of bed in the morning, because I know that the only time of the day when being outside might even be palatable right now in Denver is 6 a.m. And that alone makes it easy. The other day, I remember Friday morning, I was lying in bed and I was like, oh, this is so comfortable. I don't want to get out of my bed. I don't want to move. And then I looked at the weather, and my husband opened at the same time that my husband opened this little window in our bedroom, and I felt the heat kind of hop in as he said, nope, and shut it really quickly. And I was like, oh, I better go now. And that was what got me out of bed, because I'm like, if it feels like that, it's going to get worse later, and then I definitely won't do it. So that was enough to get me moving and out the door in under 5 minutes. So I'm not saying that that's necessarily a strategy. It's just a reminder, earlier is better. And you know what? Walking isn't bad. Tying back to what I said a little bit earlier, part of the reason I've not been running is because my testosterone levels were so low. Like a normal testosterone level, to give you an idea, is around 45 for a runner. And for someone who does as much strength as what I used to do, mine was a 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, which is not medically abnormal, but it is like not... It's not low enough for doctors to get worried about it, but it absolutely explains like why my muscles didn't feel like they could do anything and had no endurance, no stamina, couldn't like out of breath when I was climbing. My body was trying to send me a signal that things were really wrong. And as we try to, and that more stress wouldn't be better. So if I could have forced a workout every day, it wouldn't have made me stronger. And I did force workouts every day for a couple months and then just said, Uncle, I give up. And started really paying attention to what my body was trying to tell me, even though I didn't like it, and saying, okay, everyone's telling me diet and exercise right now because they don't know what else to say, but eating less is not what I need to do, because I know exactly how much I'm eating, and it was scary because of my stomach being so swollen. And I know that more exercise is not likely to happen because my muscles literally can't do it. In these moments, what do I need to do? So tying that back to you somehow, if that's the signal you're getting from your body that maybe this isn't the time to do it, pay attention to that. Because in the months past, when I'd gone for a run, I could not get even for a vigorous walk, I could not get my heart rate below 140. And I know how hard that is to do. But I also know when a walk should not be this hard on my body. A walk will be that hard on your body when you are healing from something, when you are breathing really gross air, when it is incredibly hot, when you're a little hungover or a lot hungover, when you're tired. Everything is going to be harder when your body is less, at a less than optimal place, which I don't take that as pressure to be at or stay at an optimal place. I read that as, if it's an off day, don't force it. It's nothing good can come from that. So I'm going to beg you, as we get through these last few incredibly hot weeks, incredibly gross weeks of August, if walking is all your heart rate's going to allow you to do that. And try to do it. Try to find a way, or talk to me about it. We can talk about mindsets and being really good with that walk, because just 10 minutes can make a really huge difference. And having that in your schedule makes a huge difference. Because I'd gotten to the place where I was walking about 5 miles 4 days a week. And then one day, all of a sudden, my legs just wanted to go a little bit faster. And that's when I knew things were working. And then I tried a walk run and it went really well. And I rested a couple of days, and then I tried another walk run and it went really well. I'm going to do another one tomorrow. And I'm probably not going to be ready for a marathon this fall, but I wouldn't rule out next year. And I wouldn't rule anything out right now, because the other thing I'm looking for, remember earlier I said I'd go on walks, my heart rate would get up and I couldn't get it back down. When I run and then I walk, my heart rate ticks back down now. It wasn't doing that there for a long time. And that's the signal. That rate of recovery is what I'm looking for. It's what I'm tracking in the few one-on-one clients that I have left. It's something I'm paying attention to, because that is the real sign of fitness, not how fast you can run, how quickly your body can recover from what you just did, how much stress it was. So in those moments when you go for a run, your heart rate gets all the way up and it won't come back down. That is not a judgment of you, but rather how willing your body is to do the work you literally just asked it to do. And now my body's in a place where I go for a run, I come for a walk, and my heart rate comes back down under 140. And yeah, those last 2 runs last week, heart rate average was 140. And I could not be prouder than that, because that's exactly what we're going for. Remember, that's why if you're in rebuild, you get a higher heart rate cap of 155, so that you can go a little bit harder during those efforts, looking for a solid 140 average over the duration. Because again, I want to keep you here, and I know it can be absolutely maddening trying to stay under 140. It's a lot easier to stay under 140 when you are, as fit as I was when I wrote the plans. But it takes a while to get back there, and more work and harder work isn't necessarily going to get you there faster. More consistent work, more consistent rest, taking care of your body, listening to the cues, and giving it what it needs. That is what it's going to do. I think we finally figured out what it needs. And every doctor in here can just put your finger in your ears while I talk about, like, it was what my body needed was this hormone, testosterone, and it is just a night and day difference. But I'm going to stop there because this is not medical advice. I'm just telling you this is working, and I could not be more excited. That plus all of the supplements to help my stomach. It looks like I might have left my ask away note in the other room as I sit here sweating. Excuse me as I stand up. I'll be right back. I apologize. It ringing? Sorry about that. It was not where I usually leave it. Okay, so that's my spiel. Just get out there and do the thing. If you have to leave for a while, talk to me about it, please. I will miss you, but I'm always going to be here for you. And yes, you guys can always text me. You know that. Here are the weekly wins. Megan Rule took Mary Catherine Brooks Fleming's advice and did a 10-minute walk that turned into 15 minutes because of course it did. Of course it did. She said it was so nice to just be like, you can quit at the 10. It's fine. This is enough. I felt amazing. I'm not going to lie. I love that. One of the things, I think of it as permission, not like, because what we try to do, what a lot of us have been taught to do is like just be that teenager that wants to defy every direction. If I say go slower, I'll show you. It's like, you'll show me what? That you can get really tired. That's why a lot of people hire me in the first place. They don't want to be tired anymore. Okay. But in these moments where it's like, if you just go move for 10 minutes, 10's plenty. And if you want to quit, you can. But you know what? Most of the time, you'll want to do a little bit more. And if you do that regularly enough, you'll want a little bit more. And it's that wanting that is going to make the difference, right? Because you're getting out there and doing the thing and finding some way to connect with it and finding ways to get back out there. I don't care if you're playing Pokemon Go, listening to an audiobook, listening to podcasts. I can give you recommendations. If you're sitting on your Peloton and you're like, I really want to do some easy rides on my Peloton, I'll be like, watch Yellow Jackets. Just set it on. Just set your bike on like level 16 or something nice and slow that you can't pound the pedals really hard. Take a deep breath, settle in, and watch Yellow Jackets. I've got so much good TV I can give you to binge on a bike or podcasts that you can listen to while you move. We can find some way for you to make an excuse to take time for yourself and connect with your body and some movement and maybe some sound in a way that will benefit you in the long run. So congratulations on doing that this week, Megan. Erin White said the extreme heat in her area has finally broken, and she said several great runs culminating in an 8-miler this weekend. I am jealous as hell of you, Erin White. It is miserable here. It is so hot. I haven't been this hot in I don't know how long, and it doesn't feel like, it feels like it's getting worse instead of better, which I don't know. I know it's political, and I'm not supposed to talk about political, but like, it's freaking hot, y'all. I don't know how else to say it. A lot of people in my life are pretending that like, oh, it's always been hot. I'm like, no, that it was not. Summers were hot when I was growing up too in Tennessee, but we had winter too. And now it's like the summers are hotter than they ever were. And the winters are colder than they ever were. It's a whole thing. And it's really going to take a toll on our training habits. I was saying to Coach Nakia the other night, I don't know how much longer I'm going to be able to, I mean, assuming I'm fit enough and healthy enough to do it, I don't know how much longer fall marathons are going to be a thing for me. Living where I do, it's probably going to become December, January, February marathons because I'm not going to want to train through July and August heat. I don't know that I'm ever going to want to ever again. Lord, I know what it was like on Saturday morning. I cannot imagine. And I was up at 4 a.m. that morning. That's a long story. It has to do with the kids. But I was up at 4 a.m. and I was out the door earlier than I normally would have been in any year other than a training year. And I couldn't help but think like, gosh, I don't want to be out in this. Even at 4 a.m, it was still really gross and really rough. And we're not a place, and we don't have humidity. So here in a couple of years, it might be, I will start my marathon training no sooner than September, October, November for December, January marathon. That's just, I hate it. That's kind of where it feels like the things are going these days. So if the extreme heat is broken wherever you are, terrific. If it has not, let's think about the date of that fall race. What we've done past 10 years, what we've done historically might not be the thing going forward. And I've got whole lists of races, binders full of races. I can help you pick a different race, a better race, one that might be happening in better climate. Remember back in 2015, 2016, when a lot of y'all met me for the first time, I had very specific instructions about how to think about and how to pick a race. And in 2019, a lot of my official recommendations, I was like, we're going to have to pull some of these off the list. I remember having this conversation with someone saying, Scranton has been here forever. I love the Scranton race. I can't really recommend it anymore because it's been too darn hot. The past 3 years, there'd been a black flag up at the start line, or the 3 years prior to now, there've been black flags for extreme heat raised before the race began. And there's not a lot of cloud cover when you're doing road racing, right? It's just not a thing. Not to say that trail running is a whole lot better. A lot of the trails where the bigger races are tend to be on open trails in open spaces, not necessarily running under, a nice little canopy of trees. So tell you all that to tell you this, if there's not a lot of shade and you're going to be in the sun, the training, St. George is another one that I love. I think it's a fantastic race. I don't know that I'm ever going to run it again because it's in the beginning of September. And I can't imagine being marathon ready in the beginning of September at the end of a summer like this. So I don't know what the future is going to look like, but I don't think it's a bad idea for those of us who don't need our marathon winnings to pay our mortgage or provide our sponsors to provide our health insurance, to think quite seriously about what our race calendar, what it looks like and why, and move it around a little bit. I don't know that right now New York and Philadelphia are still in that window where it's just like race day is perfect, but the training is going to start at a period that sucks. So instead of pushing for that ideal prime November window race that I've always talked about, that might be turned into January. I know. Good news is Christy Harris lives in Houston now. It's got a big old house. I bet she's in an empty nest. So I bet she'd let us all come and do a meetup there if we wanted to hang out for the Houston Marathon. Right, Christy? Okay, so here's the one question of the week. If I'm training for a race that will take me 3.5 to 4 hours, what would my taper look like? I've never had to do one before, and I'm sort of at a loss. Okay, so a race is going to take you 3.5 to 4 hours. Generally, we would talk about that in marathon terms, because when all the marathon plans were written, it used to be a long time ago, all the runs were in minutes. Everyone trained the way that I teach you guys to train, but with the time blocks. It wasn't until Hal Hignan took that, converted it at a 10-minute mile to the general public and put it into miles, that people started thinking about miles and really started thinking about distance. So I love the way that you've asked that question, because that could be, there's no judgment here. If that's a half marathon for you, amazing. If it's a full marathon, most things that you'll find will give you like full marathon tapers, and those tapers are still going to be egregiously more running than what you probably want to do. So if you are taped to the taper for a 3.5 to 4 hour race, we're just going to have a really sharp, it's going to feel like you're kind of falling off a cliff. All right. So if you're the 2 weeks prior, we're going to cut, the 1 week prior, we're going to cut all of your runs in half, and then we're going to cut them again. It's going to be really nice. So let's say your Monday run is a 1 hour stride sandwich. Then that's going to become a 45-minute stride sandwich in week 1 of the taper, and then a 30-minute stride sandwich in week 2 of the taper. Make sense? Reach out to me and we'll talk about it, but that's generally speaking what I would do. Knock it down by, sorry, I said a half and then a half. Sorry, going to knock it by a quarter and then knock it by another quarter. So it ends up being like from where you start, it's going to be knocked down by half. So from 60 to 45 to 30. And then that final week, so it'll be like 45 minutes, 45 minutes, 45 minutes, day off. no longer than 45 minutes on the Friday run. And then the Saturday sandwich, 6 miles max, 75 minutes max. And then the final week, the week before the race, we'll want to do 30 minutes on Monday, 30 minutes on Tuesday, no more than 30 minutes on Wednesday, and only if you really, really feel like you need it. Walking on Thursday, walking on Friday, or race on Saturday. Nothing more than maybe a stride here or there, just to sort of wake up your muscles. You hear a lot about fast twitch muscles, and I roll my eyes when people talk about it, because it's like, yeah, you need some, but we're using not fast twitch muscles when we run even a 5K. 5K is a short distance to us. That is a medium or a long distance to everyone else in the world, all right, who does the world of racing, that usually starts on a track. So I tell you that, and to tell you this, tapering's fun. Go enjoy it. Really relish it. You don't need as much running as you think you do, and you don't need any of that fast twitch anywhere near as much as the fast twitch development. The reason that we do the stride sandwich or the avocado toast, and I say it's the perfect workout, because all you need is on a day-to-day basis, if we can get into the habit of it later. First, we build the engine, we build the habit, we build the fitness, and then we start throwing in the little elements that make a big difference over time. Strides are that. It's the neuromuscular connections that lead to speed later. And you don't need lots and lots and lots of really hard, fast running. All you got to do is wake up the fast twitch muscles, kind of like turning on the hot water in a cold house at the top of a mountain just to keep the pipes from freezing. It's basically it. A minute worth of strides every day is all you need to retain your body's ability to work towards speed, if that makes sense. So people always want to do more and more and more. That's hard. I'm like, why? It literally doesn't do anything for you. The difference between running all out for 3 minutes and sprinting is your ability to do it again the next day. And strides. To do sprints versus strides. You can't sprint every day. You can stride every day. Sprinting every day will hurt your knees and wear you out. Strides every day will preserve the gains from your previous speed workout. And that's really what we're going for, efficiency. You can work as hard as you want. I'm going to beg you to work smart, and so that you can conserve this body of yours for the long run, because you only get one. Just ask Peyton Manning. Bless his heart. Anyway, I hope y'all are having a really great week. I hope the heat is broken wherever you are. I'm sitting here jealous as hell of you, Aaron White. I love it. I love it that you had great runs this week. I hope everybody has really terrific runs this week, and congratulations to Karina Terry for having a great first week teaching at her brand new high school. I hope every week after this is as much fun as the first one was. I hope everyone has a successful school year coming in the next few days. If you haven't started yet, my baby HRH starts ECE 4 in the same building as her brothers and sisters on the 19th. Can you believe it? I can't. It's so weird. Where'd that time go, y'all? She's 4.5. Anyway, mind is blown. You're coached. You are loved. Go win it this week and hydrate.